Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The New Normal with Lee and Chantelle. What we got going on today?
UFC 271 just
Yeah.
wrapped up. Jorge Masvidal versus Colby Covington. Intense rivalry, and started it off competitive, but Colby Covington figured out a way to close the distance and dominated Jorge Masvidal in wrestling. What do you think about that fight?
Um, well, I guess just by my reaction there, it's kind of like I was disappointed because I was really rooting for Jorge Masvidal. Um, but I had a feeling Covington would win because he seems like he's more accurate and dominating in a way. But yeah, so him and his takedowns, I was not expecting that. I thought that it would stay on foot and strike more, especially because that's Jorge's fighting style. But, you know, he was changing it up. So it is what it is. It worked for him. Covington, I mean, it worked for Covington.
What do you think about Drake betting 275K on Jorge Masvidal and lost the 275K?
Yeah, see, if I was betting, I would bet the same. Um, I mean, that's what happens now. I feel like Jorge shouldn't just owe him dinner. I think he owes him like a win. So
Yeah,
I feel like Jorge should, fight again and go for a second round and then win it all back for him. For
yeah,
everyone, actually.
that was hilarious. Okay, let's
That was hilarious.
yeah, that was
And then
hilarious.
that's it. Yeah.
Yeah,
It was painful to watch, actually.
I
It's
think
kind of like, yeah, well, yeah.
I think a lot of these celebrities bet on like fights and like football and basketball, but I never heard the amount and on who, whether they won or lost.
Yeah.
This is the first time I've heard it, so it's kind of funny.
I don't think that's big money for Drake, though. I think that's fine for him. That's like what someone bets for $500 here. That's his $500 is 250,000. So,
Yeah, but when you lose $500, it still hurts.
well, money is money. Even if I lose a dollar, 50 cents, that still hurts.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
yeah. Remember the today you went back to get your apple pie? It's only
Yeah.
$1.50. You're
Was it like a dollar something? I can't remember.
gonna tell the
It must be.
story.
It's under $2. But yeah. So we went to. Should I say the name of the place? Mary Brown's.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess it doesn't really matter. There's Mary Brown's across Canada everywhere, but so there's Mary Brown's where we live, and we went there for the first time today, and
Hold on,
so
hold on.
yeah,
Before that, you really didn't want to go. Why was
yeah.
that?
Why?
Yeah.
I didn't want to go because I heard like in Toronto, it's like the cheap version of KFC and it's shit. So I was
This
like, oh,
this goes to show don't be so judgmental on people before you meet them and get to understand them.
okay, chill. Food is different from people, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, so we ordered a bunch of things, probably way more. Actually, it is way more than we can handle usually. And so then that's like a substantial amount, then we leave because they're closing, and the lady was like, oh, we're closing in 10 minutes, and she was trying to do the math, when you're a closing person, you want to get out of there as soon as possible instead of waiting for a customer to eat. Anyways, so we got to the car. It's just like down the block from
Oh,
that place.
by the
Yeah.
way, we pull up to the restaurant, and I saw two black guys in there eating fried chicken. I already knew right away it was gonna be good.
Because black people love their fried chicken.
Yeah, black people got taste.
Oh
First time,
damn, okay.
for some reason, God has blessed Black people with rhythm and taste in style, things like that.
It just sounded like you described Adesanya.
Well, not only him, but like just in general, like music mostly copy, people copy from Black people, and style people copy from Black people.
Let's go back to the Black people thing, because actually there's another thing that I want to talk about. But for this one, so what happened was, so I went back to the went back to the car, vehicle. Okay, anyways, went back to the car, took everything out, started eating. And then I realized, I'm like, where's my apple pie? I said I wanted apple pie. And you're like, oh no, you just didn't give it to me. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, then you were like, I don't know if I've been paid for it because you didn't take the receipt and you didn't tell, you didn't do what she was asking you to do, which was do the survey, get 15% off next time and all this stuff. Anyways, so I go back to the
That
place
had nothing to do with anything. We wouldn't
because
notice the apple pie either way.
you just didn't want to pick up the receipt. And I was like, it would be good to pick up the receipt and then like take inventory of what you received.
But you ordered apple pie. So even if I pick up a receipt and I read it, I wouldn't notice it.
Okay, but
How come you didn't pick it up?
it's one bill.
Instead of standing on the sideline complaining, why didn't you pick up the work?
Listen, I had to go pee real bad. Okay, that's what I was focused on. I was listening and I was like, this has nothing to do with me. I really need to go pee, so I'm gonna go. Anyways, so I went back and I was like, oh, like to the lady at the front, I was like, I didn't get my apple pie. And she's like, oh. And then I remember she took down your name. I'm like, oh, it's under Lee. And then she looks it up and she prints it out. Actually, she's like, it wasn't added on the list. You didn't get apple pie. And I'm like, oh, so the lady forgot to punch it in. And then she was like, well, if you want apple pie, I can check if we still have any and you can buy one. I'm like, no, I'm good. That's a lot of food already. I just wanted to make sure because if it was paid for, why not get it, right? So yeah, like everything counts. It's a pet peeve for me to order something and then
How much was
not
the
get
apple
it.
pie?
It's $1.50, I think.
Okay, here you are talking about, oh, it's like $500 for other people. If you lose it, it doesn't hurt, and then you try to get back your $1.50 apple pie,
Yeah, because I said every dollar counts.
which you probably wouldn't have eaten because we ordered way too much food. Whether we had the apple pie or not, we already like are full.
That's true. That's true.
But
But
yeah,
still, my point stands as in every dollar counts, you know? If you pay for something, then you should receive it. It's just common courtesy.
okay.
Yeah. The other
So
thing I wanted to talk about though, because we were talking about Black people earlier, did we talk about Kenyan food yet?
no,
Should we talk about Kenyan food?
if you have something to say, it's not much to say there. I don't think.
That's true. Okay, we'll just move on. We'll talk about African food when it's more exciting. Not that the Kenyan place that we went to was bad. It's just it wasn't as exciting as I thought.
Yeah. So speaking of every dollar count,
Mm,
the war continued, which is actually surprising to me because I never been through any war. Even just as like news, I don't hear much about it, about wars.
mm.
And when Russia invaded Ukraine, I thought, oh, it's kind of like the movies. It's like a shootout, and 3 days later you find out who wins. But then the more information coming out and hear more people talking about it, they said the war could last for months, sometimes even years. I'm like, what the hell?
Messed up. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a lot of ammunition and resources that they're using. It's a
that's
lot of people too.
that's crazy. How do you stay in war mode for years?
Yeah.
And and then that has led to oil price go up. In Canada, it has hit, I think it's $200 per gallon. Is that a calculation? I don't know, but it's the
I don't think it goes that way, but yeah, it hit like $2, like two.
I think it's $2 per liter per. I
Yeah,
think it's per liter,
per
$2
liter.
per liter.
Yeah.
But the important part is it's the highest oil price ever in history.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's insane. It made me feel like I'm like witnessing history in the making. When people talk about crisis in the past, it seems very remote to me. It's like, oh, that belonged to the history books and textbook. Only in during those extreme times that could have happened. It couldn't happen today. But now we shattered all the records and has gone to where no man in history has gone to. And we don't even
Yeah.
know.
Well, that's what they said about COVID too. Like, this is really what we read in textbooks, and we're living that life right now. So, and even just through the behavior of everyone in the world having to wear masks and having to change the way business is done, like from restaurants to
Mhm.
deliveries, like it's time, it's like it really is life changing for everyone.
Yeah.
Hence the new normal.
Also, like back in the day, people probably wouldn't know much about it, but now it's updated constantly. And
Mm,
it made me realize how much information there is about everything, but also how much misinformation there is about everything. A lot of key information came out last week, and this week it's been debunked. They were like, oh, it's fake, or oh, that was not Russian war, that was the Iraq war, and that was like clips taken from different parts of the world, things like that. And that's different than how when wars happened in the past. Normal citizens like us weren't really, you know,
yeah.
up to
Well,
date.
yeah, that's the power of the internet now and just having anyone post anything online. Whereas before, you know, the news outlets were really just from um, like TV, radio, newspapers, and then now we've got the internet. So just even just a civilian walking around Ukraine streets or Russia's streets can post anything about what they're viewing, like their primary observations.
Yeah, and I just like to say something, give some advice to my fellow investors as
Right,
a
here we go.
as a result of the oil price going up and the war, the stock market is crashing.
Yeah, yet
And
again.
yet again. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is just my personal opinion. Take it however you may. But I think now it's a very good time to invest if you know what you're doing. Um, it's the fear and the worry. It's like too high now. It could go worse. Like if you invest now and World War III starts, it's gonna go way down. You're gonna lose money, of course, but it can always go worse. But I think there's too much fear and worry in the just in general, not only just in the market, just the negative sentiment in the world, in society, and online, everywhere. It's just a little excessive, a
Yeah.
little unjustified. So if you know what you're doing, you can find opportunities. Um, there's a lot of money to be made in uncertain times like this.
But that's where the fear comes from. It's because it's so uncertain.
Yeah.
But what
Warren,
makes you certain?
Warren Buffett has a saying:
Mm,
it's be greedy when others are fearful, and be fearful when others are greedy.
mm.
Meaning, like when everybody thinks stock market's going up forever, you gotta catch it before it shoots to the sky. You gotta be careful, be fearful, because others start being too greedy, and you gotta step back and be like, this is not sustainable. And vice versa. When stock market going down, everybody's like, the world is ending, the world is ending. You know, it is bad, but it's not as bad as people's emotions are. So then there's opportunities there. Humans are emotional creatures, so humans tend to respond to things one way or the other. You see this with many, many things. They go one way, and then something bad happens, they go all the way to the other way. And then something good happens, they go all the way back to the other way.
Yeah.
Yeah, so people always overreact. And if you can stay in the middle, keep a level head, when there's another saying in Wall Street is, when there's blood in the streets, that's when you make money. It's more literal, but you know, but yeah. But anyways.
That's real gangster talk.
Speaking of investments, one of my all-time favorite business ideas has just launched last week, called Cana. And this is a company that, like most companies, they either are too safe or they are too far-fetched. So as an example, too safe would be, let's say, I don't know, Walmart. They don't expand, they don't try to change the world, they just sell groceries for cheaper. So it's like steady, you know, it's doing good, but it's not going to be amazing and changing the world.
You know what to expect.
Yeah, but the too far-fetched is like SpaceX. He's like, I want to colonize Mars. That's a cool idea. I fully support him. I think it should be done, but as a business, it's not really the best idea because it's too far-fetched. Even if it gets done in 50 years, you know, everybody who can invest in it is dead. But there are ideas in the middle, like Tesla, where it's ambitious enough, but then also practical enough to execute it, and it can change the world. And this Cana idea, I think it's another idea like that. So the idea is, the founder went out and looked up all of the beverages. Beverages. What? Beverages? Not beverages?
Beverages.
Oh, beverages. That's what I said. Okay. So anyways, right? So he's a scientist type of guy. He went out to look up all the beverages. He put them in the lab, and then he observed the particles in them, and he found out that all of the substance in the drink, only the 1% substance make up the taste of the drink. The 1% of substance make it what it is, and the other 99% just water. So he figured out a way to make a prototype where he only has the 1% of substance, and then using the tap water from your home to go through the machine to print out a drink of your choice. It's essentially like a 3D printer for drinks.
Yeah.
You can print out any drink you want, and there's no cross-contamination. You can print out a coffee 1 second, the next second you can print out juice, and then you can print out wine.
It's like, so it's not print out, it's mix up, like you mix up your drink.
Yeah, but you don't need you know how like in coffee makers you need to buy the little container and to put it in, so it's coffee. This machine doesn't have that.
What does it use then?
So it's just, they give you a tray of like particles in them, but then these particles can make up any drink in the world.
So it's unlimited particles?
No, it's not unlimited. They will recycle it every this part I didn't completely understand, but it's either 1 month or 1 year. They said it's 1 month, but then they can use it up to 12 months. I guess it depends on how often you drink. If you drink it like really fast and they consume it, you consume all the particles, then they'll have to give you a new tray. But it comes with the machine, and then they will take away the tray and give you a new tray, and they will just recycle it.
Yeah, that's so cool. That's like, this sounds like my machine.
Yeah.
Because I'm a big drinks person. Not like necessarily alcohol, because I'm not like an alcoholic like that. But I mean like different types of drinks. Like,
Also, what's cool about this is that he said you can adjust the nutrients in it. You can say, I want to make this drink, but I want to add more vitamin C in it.
oh, that's sick.
Yeah, I want less sugar. I want more vitamins. I want to like, you can make it however you want, because you're essentially printing out this drink.
It's the real vitamin water.
Yeah.
50 Cent is got to be out now.
It's well, another thing is because it's essentially just controlled by an app, so anybody can make their drink and upload it onto the app. And everyone else on the other side of the world or in their own home can print out this drink, and this person can get a share of the revenue, the share of the money.
I think that's where it's at. I think like you're gonna get this machine and I'm gonna make my own concoctions, and then they will be on sale. So the whole day, every day, I'm just gonna be making drinks.
Guess how much the machine is?
Oh, I think it's around $5,000.
Imagine what a coffee maker, like people buy a coffee maker to make coffee at home.
Yeah.
But you can only make one drink, right?
Yeah.
But this can make 1,000 drinks.
Okay, then I think it's like 10,000, 15,000.
So they're taking reservations right now. First 10,000 reservations get a discount, and each machine is $500.
Oh shit. Okay, let's get it. Did you make the
then,
reservation?
then no, I didn't, because it only shipped to US.
Oh,
But
you can
but
get a PO box. Don't worry about that.
But after the reservation, even the regular price is still only $800. And
I'd rather pay 500 than 800.
yeah, but the first batch is going to ship in middle of 2023. So it's
Okay,
like,
perfect.
so it's still in very, very early stage of
You
development.
bought Tesla at very, very early stage as well. It's fine. You lived.
No, that's not true. Tesla has been around for like 15 years. After they launched a product for 15 years, and I bought
Yeah.
Tesla. This is like year one of Tesla. We don't know how it's gonna play out, because it's such a crazy idea. There's like so many steps and technical issues they have to resolve to get to where their ideal place would be. But this is one of the best ideas I've heard in a long time for a business.
I need it. It's me. Mine.
Also, let me tell you, I think I told you this, but let me tell the audience the origin story of the name Cana, where it came from. This is the single best origin story of a company I've ever heard. So when they first developed this machine, they were just testing on wine alone. They weren't thinking about, oh, we're gonna print 1,000 different beverages. They were just trying to replicate wine with their technology. And the name Cana came from the Bible. Cana is a town in where Jesus turned water to wine. And that's literally what they're trying to do. They're trying to take water and put it through the machine and turn it to wine. And then the machine is essentially the town that turned water to wine. which
That's
effectively
cool.
makes the founder Jesus. But it's really cool.
That's cool. How did so they explained that?
Yeah.
Oh,
David
okay.
Freeberg came out with the idea for the name.
Damn. Friedberg's is hella religious then, huh?
I don't know, maybe.
But that makes sense though, because that's like a iconic uh what is it called? Not story. There's like anyways.
It makes so much sense. It's crazy. Like if you ask people why is Starbucks called Starbucks, Lululemon called Lululemon, they're gonna give you a long ass story, and at the end, it didn't really make sense. They just thought it'd be good to call that.
Yeah.
But then this story makes so much sense, and it sounds cool. It's everything. This business idea has everything you will want in a business. Too bad I can't invest, otherwise I'd be investing.
I was gonna ask about that because like this is just a startup. It probably takes so much to, you know, put it together, and all they're asking is $500. Like
Yeah.
there are coffee machines that cost $3,000.
Yeah. Well, their idea is they're gonna charge you per drink.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, which I don't think is the best idea. They might change it, they might not. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But then
Yeah.
the idea is if you go to a grocery store and buy sparkling water, let's say, it will cost you $1. And then at home, if you print a sparkling water through their machine, they will charge you 30 cents. So you save 70%. So
Mm.
there's no reason for you to go to a grocery store, buy any canned drinks anymore. So they're directly competing against like any any drinking containers. So cocktail in a liquor store, a canned cocktail would be like $10. They will sell you for $3 printing through the machine,
That's
and
crazy.
so on and so forth. But
All the alcoholics are gonna get this machine now.
yeah, so it's not that you get the machine and it's over $500, you get unlimited drinks for the rest of your life. There's additional price you have to pay. But if you're someone who constantly buys canned drinks from grocery stores and liquor stores, it's a no-brainer because it's cheaper and it's more customizable. You can
Mm.
change the alcohol content, you can change the sugar level, you can change the vitamins, you can change it. Oh, also there's this idea. Someone else suggested, I don't know if it is even possible to incorporate into their company, but someone suggested this. I thought it was genius. It's an amazing idea too. They said they should produce a smart watch, put it on your wrist so that the watch monitors your sugar level and your heartbeat, your heart rate, and all of these things. And when you make a drink based on your health conditions, the drink will adjust accordingly and makes the healthiest drinks for you.
Mm.
So
That
for
makes sense.
example, you wear a watch and you try to make a coffee today. And today, for whatever reason, your sugar level is a little high, then you will put a little less sugar in it.
Or even caffeine level.
Yeah, you can adjust the caffeine level in the coffee too.
Yeah, I wonder if they could do like if they can adjust the consistency. So like because I want smoothies, for example. I've been talking about smoothies all weekend with
Oh,
you.
they can't at least for now they can't do anything that has like a thing in it.
Oh,
It
to
has to be
modify it
liquid
better.
because it will congest
Mm,
the machine. They were saying like for example orange juice they won't have
yeah,
pulp.
yeah.
It can only be the liquid juice.
Interesting. Okay, so I need to start working on my thing that has pulp and, a smoothie type of Cana.
Well, but you don't really need a smoothie anymore if what they're saying can come true because
Yeah,
you can just adjust the nutrients level to your liking. You don't need,
that's true, but I like the consistency of smoothies. Makes me feel like I'm, full after having a smoothie.
well, this machine, if it can work to what they're describing, you're gonna have drinks you never imagined was possible. You never, you know, you will literally blow your mind when you drink it,
Yeah.
because they're making something that's, if you take real ingredients, it's impossible, like literally impossible to make. And
Mm.
it's gonna give you a taste that you never tasted before. You can't even understand. So you might have some flavors that you really enjoy, but you don't even know existed. You know?
Can't wait. I'm excited for this machine.
Yeah.
Would you be for it, as in like creating your own drinks? Like would you be a Cana entrepreneur? Yeah, will you be a Cana salesman?
I'm more of, like, first and foremost, I will be more of a Cana investor.
And you're gonna say that.
And secondly, I'd probably be more of a Cana consumer. I almost
You're not gonna be a Cana ambassador? Cana influencer? The new normal Cana edition.
if they sponsor me, I will be gladly to spread a word for them. But
No, you're already spreading the word for them now.
yeah, but I don't really think they need it, honestly.
Mm.
It's like, this idea is so amazing. I don't know how, if they can do what they say, I don't know for what reason, why, like, not everybody in the world would have one.
Yeah.
It doesn't even need advertising, doesn't need salesman, doesn't need anybody. This is like, you know, it's like, it's better for you, it's more customizable, and it's cheaper, and it's more convenient. So, and
Yeah.
like,
Do you think this is perfect for third world countries?
it's perfect for everywhere.
Okay.
The idea, the reason why he wanted to develop this is because he's saying people that producing, like, for example, wine, right? You need to grow the grapes, and that takes a lot of water, that pollutes the environment, and then the grapes goes into a manufacturer, and they make the drink, and costs a lot of water, a lot of pollution, and then it gets
Mhm.
canned and go on the truck that burns oil or gas, and then it ships around, and then goes to grocery stores, and grocery stores, you know, has lights and rents a place, and then you got to drive your car, go over and buy it, and take it home, and afterwards the bottle is a waste, and then it gotta get recycled. So a lot of times it doesn't. So he's doing this for environmental reasons. Even,
But
huh?
it's gonna cut a lot of jobs.
Yeah, but
So
I think it's better. I don't know,
yeah.
like, for example, if you are making, uh I don't know, $4,000 a month, as an example. Let's say combined, okay, a couple combined is making 10,000.
Mm.
One person loses his job, now they're combined only making 5,000. But because of they can buy the Cana machine, and it saves them 4,000 to buy drinks, you know, and then it's gonna save another 2,000 to buy gas, because of Tesla, they have a Tesla, and then it's gonna save them another 2,000 because they buy stuff on Amazon instead of in the mall that's more expensive. Like, these innovations really benefit everybody. Even if you lose your job, you make less, but then these technologies make everything cheaper. You, at the end, you'll still be better off.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, this is a sick quote from Charlie Munger.
Sick. Okay.
Sick. In his most recent appearance, is 97 years old, still going
Where, on
strong.
Yahoo?
Huh?
On Yahoo?
Yeah. So
Is
he
that the
said,
video I sent you?
yeah.
Nice.
So in there, he said, the world is not driven by greed. The world is driven by envy,
Mm.
because every person, like, in general, or like on average, people today live a better life than people 100 years ago. But if you measure the happiness level, people today are more sad, less happy, more depressed, everything than people 100 years ago. Because people are now looking at how much better their life is than before. They're only looking at how much worse they are than their neighbors.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's a problem. If technology can uplift the entire society, so what if you a little poorer because you lose your job than your neighbors? But if your life overall gets better, who cares?
Yeah.
Imagine if they came out with technology that can cure cancer. It's a good news, but then people are going to be like, oh, what if all the doctors that studied how to maintain cancer, all the nurses are going to lose their jobs? Who cares? It's good news. It's good for everybody that if nobody's going to die from cancer.
Yeah.
Why people are so stuck on jobs? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it's just that's just the conventional thing to have a job. Like we talked about this last time, how everything's changing. So
Yeah, because like when nobody has enough, then you need a job, because the person with a job is the only person who can afford things. If technology can make everything cheaper and everybody can get enough what they want, then you don't really need a job.
yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, let's move on to a different thing. So another podcast I watched, Alex Hormozi.
Yes, Mr. Iranian guy.
Yeah, he was on the Iced Coffee Hour with Graham Stephan. He said a lot of things, like very interesting to talk about, but particularly let's talk about one thing today. So he said him and his wife started a company together, and they were talking about the business. They were spending time all day. They were talking about the business, and over time he realized their relationship actually has gone like worse because there's nothing for them to talk about anymore. He can't ask her, oh, how is your meeting going today, because he was there in the meeting. He can't ask her, oh, what are you going to do next week, because he knows her schedule because they're going to do it together. So they spend too much time together. And he said it depends on the couple, but you want to be somewhere in the middle. You don't want to be two strangers who don't do anything together. But all the way on the other side, if you're too close, spend too much time together, you become siblings. So if you have nothing in common, you should try to find things in common to do. If you do everything together, then you should try to find distance. So for him, they're starting to take meetings separately, even if they are doing the same thing. They go to their separate rooms, close their doors, do their thing, and then they reconvene in the middle and talk about what happened.
Yeah.
So just in general, what do you think about that? And also you can transition into us doing the podcast, and what do you think? And because we recently had a little, dispute.
Well,
But anyway, so first, like, what do you think
regularly? Actually, no, rarely. But anyways, what
do you think about the idea that you shouldn't be too close and you shouldn't be far away? Like you gotta constantly be adjusting, trying to be in the middle. And also, interesting enough, like we are in that situation where we don't meet 7 days a week, but we don't not meet at all a week either. So we like, do you see the benefits in that? Like, because in the beginning you sort of wanted to see me every day, but now having to see me like half the week and being away from me, and for the most part we like don't really talk on the days you're away and you have like complete your own space. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I think that we have a good balance right now. So like that, giving each other space the way that they like it and have a balance, I think that's important. And And yeah, like we're different in the way that we don't text every day. Like when I'm not with you, we don't chat ever. Like, well, now we don't. You don't text me and was like,
Hmm.
"Oh, how was your day?" or like, just talk randomly. You don't do that. And you never really did that before either, whereas I was kind of pushing for that. But now I kind of embraced, giving you your own space and having my own space too, and being in my own, like, not just space physically, but even like my head space. Because then I think that is important as well. And you enable me to do this and allow me to do this, to have my own thoughts and critically think on my own. Because oftentimes, like if I'm with you 24/7, everything that you think, I'm probably just going to agree with, and that's like too easy. And then physically too, I think that's important to just give each other that like physical space too, because just it's not productive when we're always together. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like for them, because it's a work thing, it might be a little bit different. Like, they can still be productive together, but then, yeah, the relation changes.
Do you think we would have been better off or worse off if we spent 7 days a week together from like the beginning of the relationship?
I think we'd be worse off. And that's why I like respect the way that you built our relationship from the beginning, because you're like, whoa, this is not normal. You can't text me every hour of every day. What are we talking about? And then you're like, when we see each other, there's nothing to talk about because we talked about it during the whole week. So yeah,
So,
it's kind of it's like that codependency thing. It's so like
so
it's just
if
bad. It's toxic.
so if this is actually beneficial to our relationship, then how do you keep it beneficial if later down the road we start living in the same house and we're going to see each other 7 days a week? How do you
Mm.
adjust for that and keep the benefits of being away still?
That's a good question. I think we talked about this before. And I think the thing that's like that we can do that could help do that is if you have your own
Or
hobby.
do you even want to like if say if we get married and move into the same house and we live together, do you go, oh, that's a natural progression, we're just supposed to spend 7 days a week together? Or do you go, oh, we should try hard to think of ways to maintain what we had like back then, when we have some space certain days and you know
Mm, no, I think that is a natural progression, but I think there's a point where you do have to give each other space. Kind of like, how couples during COVID be divorcing and like be breaking up and everything because they can't handle each other. Yeah, I think that's a thing. I think that it's important to just not be in each other's grill all the time. So for example, what would be good is like if you have your own hobbies and you do your own thing and I have my own hobbies and I do my own thing. Like we're separate people still. Just because when we get married and or have kids, like, and all of this stuff, it doesn't mean that we have to be joined at the hip. Like we're still our individual persons and we just come together to build something greater than that. So it's not a it's not a takeaway or an addition. It's basically bonus. Like being together, living together, having kids, like everything is just bonus to your own person. Because
yeah,
without you or without your other half, you wouldn't be able to do what you could if you were just by yourself. Like, biggest example is just have kids. Well, you can, but it's going to be a different experience. Probably not going to be your blood, blah, 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 blah.
I don't know how we're going to replicate it in the future, but right now I think we like accidentally stumbled into kind of a perfect balance
Yeah.
where we have time alone and we have time together, and we have separate things going on independently, but also we have this joint thing
Hmm.
we do, that's the podcast.
Hmm.
And we like focus on the podcast together, we talk about it, but then this is not the only thing that's going on in our lives. And I can still ask you about your phone charm thing, your, all the things that are going on with you that I'm not, like, for the most part involved in. Like, you can
Mm,
still tell me these things without, like, kind of like asking me, like, without me participating. It's like you telling a story to me. Like, we're just bonding rather than me getting involved in your decision making.
yeah.
But there are things like the podcast that we make decisions together. So it's like there's all the elements we could have, we're having, and then there's like a pretty good balance right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how we can replicate in the future, but I think what we're going on right now is pretty cool.
But I have a question for you, which is in the beginning of a relationship, like
Mm.
I was so clingy. Like this is not a secret. Like I was just so clingy because that's
It's
all
not a secret.
that's all I ever knew. Um, how did you have that? Like how did you handle me being so clingy and like recognizing that okay, like this is not normal for you to talk to me every hour every day. I don't need to know, when you wake up. I don't need to know when you use the washroom. I don't need to know when you're eating. Like how
Yeah.
did you just have, because some people would just follow that and it would be like, oh, like this is what it's like to be in a relationship. Let me just follow the leader, you know what I mean?
Well, all of the relationships I have or had, like, it's not, no relationship I've observed was ever like that, even
Hmm.
including friends, family, and my mom and dad,
Hmm.
my grandma and grandpa, my aunt and uncle, like anybody who I know closely to know their relationship, there was no relationship that was like that. And then me and my friends' relationship was not like that. There are friends who are like really close to,
Hmm.
they like talk all the time. And this, I'm like the closest person to me is my cousin. And
Hmm.
I almost like never talk to him over the phone. It's recently I did a Chinese podcast with him and I started talking to him more because of the podcast. Before the podcast, we barely call each other once a year.
That's so crazy to me, and yet he's one of the closest persons, one of the closest
Mhm.
people to you.
Yeah.
That was hard for me to believe in the beginning, but now that I see it and now I kind of understand how you guys, talk or communicate, and I get it so much now. And similar to us actually, because you deploy that in every relationship that you have.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, this is just my personal preference, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't
because
know
you
why.
you really set the boundary. Like you really set it up in the way that, like, even just in the beginning when I was struggling, like, oh, like how can I not tell you about these things? And like I really want to share this with you type of thing. And you're like, but is it really that important? Like I had to double check myself. Like I had to really think about like, okay, some information is like, yeah, it really has nothing to do with you. It doesn't matter. And then there's some information where it's like, okay, like I know this one, would not even if it had an impact on you, but you would probably appreciate listening to this story than another story that really doesn't stimulate your mind, you know?
Yeah, I don't know how to pinpoint it, but relationships are not created equal.
Yeah, that's
there
true too.
are there are a lot of relationships where if you stay away or stay distance long enough, the relationship will fall off, and then you meet again, you can't connect anymore. Whereas there are other relationships, no matter how long you stay apart, no matter how much you change, you go through things and you grow and you reconvene, it's the same person, it's the same old relationship.
Yeah. I mean, we can see these in like friendships now, or at least I can. There's some friendships that I have that I'm not even close to them in the, definition of close. But when I see like certain people, it's like it's never changed, still talk the same, just like you described. But why is that there's a discrepancy? Shouldn't it be consistent?
um yeah, I don't know why, but I know that it's impossible to keep that type of relationship with everybody though.
Mm,
Like you gotta you you cannot learn, grow, and change. And like, let's say if you were always an entry level worker and then now you got promoted to manager and you make decisions and you tell people what to do, you're naturally going to have a different thing to you, and then you naturally kind of have different friends and different dynamic.
yeah.
So obviously you meet with people who are your friend as an entry level worker and they're still entry level worker. The dynamic is going to change. It's going to feel kind of weird. You're not going to connect as much. Whereas if you meet another manager, you're going to connect more. You're like, oh, we share the same leadership problems.
Mm-hmm.
I lead this and it doesn't work. How do you lead? And they connect more. And then they become CEO and then they connect with other CEOs more. So it makes sense. Yeah, but I don't know why, but like as examples, like me and my cousin, whether he was a high school dropout, or he, went through university and made money and, became like respected by society more, whatever it is, he treats me the exact same way. Vice versa. Like same thing when I was in China, I treat him the same. Now I came over to Canada, like in almost in every aspect, I've changed because the environment changed. Now I get to see different things, different people. But then the way I feel about him, the way I treat him, everything still stay the same. Whereas there are a lot of people, quote unquote, friends I had in China. Now, if they contact me, I wouldn't even bother to reply because I'm like, we're so distant, we're so far apart to even be able to connect at all. There's nothing I can say to make you understand what what I'm going through, how I've changed.
Yeah.
Like, there's no point in, so yeah, but I don't know why, but you know, it's like that. It'd be like that sometimes.
Be like that. Um, were you ever clingy?
No. Uh, as very, very young, I don't know if you call it clingy, but in some ways I was.
How?
When I was maybe, I don't know, 3 years old or something, I couldn't sleep without my mom. Like I had to have
That's
my mom.
cute.
Yeah, I had to have my mom to stay in my room. And then later on, my mom got mad. And it was like, no, you have to sleep by yourself, and she close the door, turn off the lights, and leave the room. And then I had to learn how to sleep by myself. And now it's difficult for me to sleep with other people. Like it's, like I'm so used to being able to sleep by myself without any other sound or like, anything that bothers me. And it's kind of those people who sleep in quiet rooms for a long time. Now any little noise will wake them up. I'm kind of like that. I was like sleeping. Yeah. And when we went to travel, when I was a very young kid, my mom always was worried about me getting lost. So my mom would tell me, it's your responsibility to not get lost. If you if you get lost, nobody's looking for you. So you grab my I don't know what we call it, the bottom of the shirt.
Yeah.
So you grab the bottom of the shirt, you grab it tight. Don't make yourself like get lost. So then I like get nervous, right? And then I like clinch on the bottom of the shirt, my mom's shirt, and then like follow her around while we were,
Damn, that's a way of parenting.
yeah, while we were touring, I don't know, sightseeing like different cities in China and things like that. And I don't know if you like call it clingy, but I was kind of trained to like in a way it's like independent because like, oh, you're responsible for your shit.
Yeah.
Like you could don't be like fucking around and get yourself lost, and then we have to be the one worry about finding you, you know.
Yeah.
But in another
He
way,
reversed the role on you. That's hilarious.
yeah, but in another way, it made me like be so afraid of the consequence. I become like quote unquote clingy. Like,
Mm.
oh, this I just want to hang out. I don't care about the sightseeing. I don't care about anything else. I just don't want to get lost. This is so the consequence is too severe for me to suffer. Yeah.
I can't get over that. Like, that's actually really smart. That's like she just transfers the responsibility to yourself because, like, oh, if you get lost, that's your fault, not mine.
Yeah. I
I
don't know
love
if
that.
that's a good strategy. I
We'll
probably
revisit that.
yeah, I probably wouldn't apply that to my kids, but I definitely would tell my kids to um like make sure wherever you go, like you can see me, like I'm a eyesight length. As soon as you don't um like you're not like you can't see me in your
Yeah, in
surrounding
view. Hmm.
by looking, like you gotta try to find me. You don't leave that far away type of thing. But I wouldn't be like, but then in China it's kind of different too, because China is a lot of people, it's very crowded. It's like it's you know, people get like squishy around and like pushing, and you gotta walk forward trying to like walk through the sightseeing place. So I gotta like pull on the shirt and they follow, and then people push me left to right, you know.
Would you ever put a leash on your kid?
Yeah, 100%. Why not?
Jeez, your kid's not a dog.
Did I talk that with you or somebody else? They like so anti-leash young kids.
I
I was
think
like,
that's my
why?
opinion. Because they look like pets. You're not supposed to do that to your kids. Like, I don't know. I just feel like that's,
The
yeah.
pets are so like, what do you call it? Like respected in the West. Why is that degrading? Why is that a bad thing?
Because to your kid, a kid and a pet is different. Your kid is not your pet. I mean, some parents would disagree, but
I
oh,
don't I don't see how like, it's practical. It's just a practical method to not lose them. I rather to be judged by others than lose my kids, you know.
yeah, I get what you're saying
Like
there.
when you lose your kid, like when you can't find them at that moment, you wouldn't care about any of the things, like whether they're pet or not pet. That's just semantics at that point. You just want your kids back.
Mm,
So that's where I'm at. Like anything I can do to make sure they don't get lost, I do it. It doesn't matter.
of course you would.
Yeah.
Because you wouldn't watch them. You're just gonna leave them on the leash. They do their own thing just as long as they're safe, and you be doing your own thing.
Well, I think we're imagining a different thing here.
Okay.
You're imagining having one kid, maybe. I don't know, but like if I had one kid, I would watch the kid. I don't.
Mhm.
I wouldn't need a leash. But I'm imagining like kids rolling around. There are kids
Jeez.
who are like 12 years old. They're like running through different aisles in the mall,
12.
and then
Kids
they're
who are 12 years old can figure their stuff out, okay?
yeah. But I'm saying if you want to watch the 12-year-old, he's moving, right? They're not staying together. Like if you have three kids, they're not. All the parents know this.
Okay,
They're
12-year
not.
old is too old to put on a leash.
Wow.
Maybe like
No, no, no,
3-year
no.
old.
No, but I'm saying they're 12-year-old that running to other aisles. You gotta pay attention to him while they're 2-year-old
Oh,
rolling
okay.
on the ground.
Hmm.
And then while they're 5-year-old trying to climb into the freezer, and they're in three different locations trying to do three different things. If you watch one, then you're gonna lose the other one. You know, like you
Forget it at that point. If it's too many kids, they're all not going out.
what the hell?
They're not going out unless they listen to what they're asked of them. That's it. They're screwed. They're
You're gonna
just, you know,
lock
they
all
don't
your kids in
behave.
the basement?
Like, you don't behave, you guys don't go out. That's it.
Oh my
Everyone
God.
outside of the house, best behavior, please.
You're gonna OA all of your kids?
No, put them in experiments. OA is a Netflix TV show that we're watching right now. We're not even finished with the first season, but it's very intriguing. So
Yeah,
you
it's
guys should check it
amazing.
out.
If you know, you know.
Yes.
But yeah, but like that's a well, I wish there are better technology developed than leash, but I would want a like 100% full proof
Mm.
methods to know that I'm not gonna lose my kid while not restricting them from being kids and exploring. Like I'm not gonna lock them in the basement like
I'm
you.
not gonna lock them in
They're
basement.
gonna
You know what I mean?
they're gonna be the best relationship with me. They're gonna be because every time they see you, they know they're not going anywhere.
Oh, here we go.
Me,
Here we go.
they see me, they're like, oh, daddy, daddy. When they see me, they know they're going out. They'd rather be in a leash going out than staying at home without a leash, you know?
That's very opposite to what we have now because you have a dog, and every time your dog sees me, he knows he's going out for a walk.
When my dog goes out for a walk, is he there a leash? Huh?
Yes, at least
The
at
exact
least he goes
exact
out.
so.
Anyways,
You have to, otherwise you get lost.
he doesn't get lost, he runs away.
Yeah, that's called getting lost. What do you mean? Oh.
Oh man. So
Just,
yeah.
just just a quick question.
Mm,
After watching all of these movies and shows about like people going through crazy experience, they get kidnapped and things like that. Are
mm.
you more like concerned about losing our kids now more than ever? Like before, you're concerned about them just getting lost themselves. Now, do you think people are plotting to take them away, like kidnap them and experiment and all of that things?
Oh, I'm not that extreme. I think that's normal that, there are bad guys out there and, they plot to do things, but I like to think more the positive side now because, when you think positively, positive things happen.
Maybe that would
Um,
change when you have a kid. Like before you have a kid, you want to lock them in the basement. After you have a kid, probably be more paranoid.
I mean, yeah, I think that's normal for parents who really care and love their kids to be protective of their kids, but that's where it'll be a challenge for me to, like you said, let them be on their own and let them grow and explore themselves so that they have their own experiences. So now that I know that and I'm more aware of that, I'm really trying to think about how I'm going to approach that when they are, growing up.
Yeah, I
So,
guess you got to think about it both ways. You want to be protective of their physical safety. Don't let them get hurt and get lost, get kidnapped, things like that. But on the other hand, you want to be protective of their mental growth. You
yeah.
don't want to like just protect one side, lock them in the basement, and then you stunt their growth. Then you're not protective of their mental growth. They both are important. And they both need to be protected.
Yeah, and then I compare how I grew up and how others around me have grown up, and it's similar in terms of like where I grew up, most people were following the herd, and then when you had that random kid who their parents were so cool and let them, do what they want or, well, it's to a certain degree, then you're like, oh, like I could have had those opportunities and they just seem to advance in a different way. So I'm just like, well,
Then,
and
then all the kids on the block ask to sleep over at their parents' house, and then other parents don't know why they keep wanting to sleep over, and then they find out because the parents says yes to everything.
no, not yes, everything. But I mean within reason, of course, that makes sense. So yeah, I'm just more in tune with that. And I think it's cool too to see, like, kids are smart, so it's cool to see what their feedback
Oh, it
is.
depends. Depends on which kid.
What do you mean?
You say kids are smart. It
Yeah,
depends on which kid. No, all kids are smart.
that's true too. Some kids, they cut from a different fabric, you know?
No, no disrespect to them dumb kids out there, but not every kid is the same, okay?
Hey, clearly you've seen more kids, more dumb kids than there are smart ones
Oh,
then.
yeah, but actually, I've seen more like smart kids that actually never turn out to, you know, to achieve much.
Yeah.
Yeah, same thing in boxing. There's a saying we say usually the best fighter you see in the gyms, they don't turn out to be the best champions. Like they don't turn out to be the best professional fighters for whatever reason. If you're too talented, you succeed too fast, you're quote unquote too smart, it takes away like your need for
Yeah.
grit and discipline and like develop characters that gonna push through failure.
Yeah.
And those things eventually always prevail rather than talent and smart and all of these things. Kind of like a girl who's like extremely pretty. They're gonna get ahead early in life, but then later on they're gonna fall behind because they're pretty, so then they don't need to develop character. They don't need to develop, they will become spoiled and lack of character and egotistic and all of these things.
Not
So
all girls, but yes.
yeah,
This is
but it's
like generally speaking.
like if you given too much advantage too quickly, you will go like the tides are going against you. Will be way your chance of succeeding will be actually way lower rather than the other way around where most people think. Just like what you said before, when I tell you things, you're like always like, oh, they can achieve these things because they given that. They were like their parents were rich, or because they were famous, or because they were smart, they were born taller, and all of these things. And to me, it's like that's not the reason. If anything, that actually gave them more obstacles. They gave them more difficulty. There's a saying in China is you cannot be rich over more than 3 generations.
Yeah. I
It's
think that's something similar to the Filipinos, but I'm not sure. But it's something my mom always said, like the wheel always turns.
Yeah, it's not an absolute, but it's a general pattern where if you're rich, the likelihood of your kids that are spoiled and enjoy benefits or advantage too early, too quickly, are going to have all the grit and discipline and the creativity and all of these things to be rich too, it gets dramatically lower. And then it goes down to the next generation, it's even lower.
Yeah.
So all of you dumb kids out there, don't lose hope. You can still work your way up.
It's not that you're dumb, guys. It's just that you haven't figured your shit out yet. Okay, so try new things.
Yeah,
Fail a lot,
everybody
but
is
keep
different.
thinking.
There's no one scale that can measure how smart or how dumb you are on the same measurement. Everybody's different. All you have to do is be yourself, because then you'll realize nobody can be you better than you. And that's your biggest advantage in life, is that you know yourself better than anyone else and you can be yourself better than anyone else. And if
Yeah.
you, no matter smart, dumb, whatever, you can utilize that well, you'll do well in life.
It's hard to do, easy to say type thing, or it's cliche, but it's true. So, having said all that, Don't be
Smooth
normal,
transition
be
though.
yourself. Huh?
A smooth transition though.
Don't be normal, be yourself. We'll see you on the next episode. Bye bye.
Bye bye.